All right. Good morning. Committee on Parole, we are reconvening. We're back at West Baton Rouge on Thursday, April 6, 2023. Oh, there I can see you now. They adjusted the camera. Thank y'all for that. Is that Warden Hughes with you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you accommodating us once again. Mr. Lee, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Breeon Lee, 741-077.
All right. Mr. Lee, you're classified as a first felony offender, currently serving a 5-year sentence for carnal knowledge of a juvenile.
Yes,
You were
ma'am.
originally sentenced in February 2019. You were afforded probation. That was revoked September of 2020. The parole eligibility date is October 13, 2023. You don't earn good time, and you have a full-time date, January 13, 2025. That all sounds right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. Please answer his questions.
Okay, Mr. Lee. First off, let's address your revocation. Why were you not going to sex offender classes?
To be honest with you, it was my fault. My mind was somewhere else. I wasn't even on the right track. That's my fault. I own up to that, which I should have been going.
Yeah, you'd have been gone, you'd still be out.
Yes, sir.
Now, looking at your instant offense, it kind of looks like it was consensual, although she was 14 years old. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any contact with this victim anymore?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay. Law enforcement, the judge was opposed, but that's a blanket policy. The DA was opposed, that was a blanket policy. The sheriff is opposed, it's a blanket policy. The victim is unopposed. The victim and her mother is unopposed. She has some disabilities, and so they really had no comment. They're not unopposed. They just didn't give a comment.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No restitution. They like I say, the victims, both the mother and the victim herself said, we have no comments regarding the subject's parole consideration. So that's going to be left up to us.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of classes have you taken?
Well, they sent me down here for reentry, but they said I couldn't get in no classes. I was trying to get up in some classes, but they said due to my release date, I couldn't get in any classes. But I've been trying to get in classes.
Is that true, Warden?
That's true, Mr. Freeman. He was sent here for reentry, but due to his parole time, he wasn't able to get in.
Yes,
They're trying to do the last 2 years, so I wasn't quite clear why they sent him so early.
got you. Okay, I appreciate that. Has he given you any trouble since you've been there? He's been there.
Not one bit. Zero discipline issues.
Okay. Do you have him doing any work, any outside jobs at all?
No, we don't, because we don't, of course, we don't work sex offenders out. So
Right.
But he may be eligible to go in the kitchen.
Okay. Okay, he has a medium risk and a medium need. I have no further questions, Ms. Renata.
All right. Mr. Lee, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Like I've been around old people, like they telling me when I do get out to better myself, like this ain't the life that I wanted. Like I'd have been down 2 years, like I'd have been away from my family too long. Like I'm ready to go home. Like That's it though. I thank y'all.
Where is home?
Well, St. Francisville, but my mama, she moved to Zachary now. So if I do parole out, I'm gonna be staying with my grandma.
In St. Francis County?
Yeah,
And do you have any relationship with that victim?
no, ma'am, not at all.
All right, I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Lee, I mean, basically you were revoked because you wasn't going to classes. You was doing everything else in your probation officer. But you know, you were skipping those classes. I'm gonna give you another shot at the classes. So my vote today is gonna be to grant your parole. Make sure you follow all of the conditions of your sex offender contract. And I'm not sure what your conditions were before, but I'm gonna add the condition that there's no contact with the victim whatsoever.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
O'Shea?
Mr. Lee,
Sir,
based on in light of rehabilitative programs, express opposition, a moderate needs assessment, so you need the programs, and a moderate risk assessment, I'm going to deny the request.
yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Brown. Here's a tough case. You know, we take it very seriously. There's a reason why you're required to go to those classes. You just didn't want to go. Which tells me you didn't think you did anything wrong. And you know, what struck me was the victim had some disabilities that I'm sure you were aware of. And so, which makes the classes all that more important. I agree with Mr. Roche. My vote today, based on the opposition that's been expressed, is to deny your application. Today, you've been denied. Mr. Warden Hughes, that concludes our business. It's 11:01. We will adjourn. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Jude, have a nice holiday.
Yes, happy
I
Easter.
like hearing you call me Mr. Freeman, Warden Jude.
Y'all have a good Easter.
So what I gotta go about doing now?
What's everyone doing now? Well, everyone's going to get back to their lives, and you're going to get back to your jail cell. Man, I am so glad that they revoked him. I couldn't believe it. I thought this was going to an easy release. I really did. And I was about to kind of like flip a switch. Mr. Freeman took it so nonchalantly. He's like, well, I see it was consensual, but she was just 15 years old. 14 years old, sorry. And it's like, they're going to let him out, huh? He got 5 years. How old is he? I missed how old he was, but it doesn't make a difference. He got 5 years for taking advantage, for carnal knowledge with a juvenile with special needs. Dude. And Miss Renata hit on the bell. He doesn't think that what he did was wrong. He didn't think he has to go to those programs. He's like, I'm not going there. I'm not doing anything. You know, I'm just thinking like his thoughts. Even though he knew he was going to get locked back up, he got this sweetheart deal, 5 years, where he's out on probation pretty much immediately, and then he doesn't go to his programs. I'm glad they didn't let him out. That would have just been laughing at the system. Again, sorry, I'm not in my normal setup. I'm camping with the family. It's like 5 a.m. right now. Let's see, 5:40 a.m. I'm trying to get these out before we start our day. So I'm not in my normal setup, and I'm whispering because I don't want to wake them up. But that's why it looks kind of weird. You know, there's people who hurt children, and there's people who hurt disabled children. And the idea that he only got 5 years for that, man, and that it almost looked like he was going to get out. So scary. Thank you, Mr. Roche and Miss Renatza, for like saving me from having an aneurysm, because I would have jumped through the screen. How do you only get 5 years? No, so I know why now more, and that's because of the plea deals. They weren't going to be able to take this to trial. They're not going to put a special needs 14-year-old on the stand, and who knows how old she was then. Well, I guess that's how old she was at the time, right? And trials are, a lot can go wrong. You can have hung juries, mistrials, uncooperating witnesses. So they do the plea deal. And then they let the guy out early. And then he doesn't even do the one thing he needs to do to retain his freedom. Can you imagine? And good. Now he's, our children are safe. To take advantage of a child, and then a child with special needs, is a whole different level of scary. We've seen it before. I'll put the other one in the. It's going to pop up here. This guy was taken. He was much worse in the sense of, well, he certainly seemed much worse. But I wonder if there's a difference. I'll put it up there if you want to see another monster who is taking advantage of a special needs child. He got, I think, a 20-year sentence, though. Anyways, with that, I'll let you go.